Hello everyone and welcome back to our power leveling through dungeons guide. This is going to be the second video in the guide. The first one was RFC, so if you haven't seen that one and your character is around 8 to 19 or you're power leveling those levels, go check it out. I'll put a link in the description. So once you get to 19, you could come earlier if you prefer, 15. But typically what I do is I just run RFC to 19 and then I come to either SFK or Wailing Caverns. Now, the reason we'll do Wailing Caverns, and we'll get our timer going here. The reason, I would do SFK over Wailing Caverns is just because BGs are coming out, and SFK has not a good chance, but a chance to drop two extremely expensive, they're about 150 to 200 gold each, Twink weapons. And that would be the Shadowfang sword and the Assassin's Blade dagger. So you might as well run SFK if you're going to be doing it versus Wailing Caverns, just because you can have a chance to get something from there. If you wanted to run Wailing Caverns, you can go ahead and do so. It doesn't really matter. So we were stunned there for a second. We're going to talk to this guy and he'll open the door for us. So in RFC when we did it, I did the second run in one pull. SFK, I wouldn't recommend doing that just because in this first graveyard, most of the mobs go magic immune, and due to the nature of the pull, you're pulling them staggered, which means they're going to be casting their magic immune staggered. And it's not just a shield that they put on that you can just damage through, it's pure immunity for X amount of seconds. I don't know what it is, like 8 seconds or something like that. And further on, there are you want to tell everyone to stay there just because you're going to be pulling back to them. But further on, there are a couple pulls where you'll be pulling Wailing Guards, and the Wailing Guards spam silence. So to have a bunch of mobs magic immune and a bunch of other ones spam silencing is just makes the pull more difficult. And the whole point of these pulls and leveling through dungeons is the efficiency. So the less deaths you have, the better. So we're going to loop around the courtyard. We're going to come to the back room here. Silence right now. Just tag him with a wand. And you're going to want to pull all of these and loop back around and pull the first boss. You can pull this guy on the stairs as well. And we'll gather all these up. So the first pull, you're going to be blocking. Don't worry about absorbing with mana shield. As long as you're spec the same way, you're going to have a talent in Arcane, which is magic absorption. So anytime you're resisting a spell, you're getting 5% of your mana, total mana back. So as you can see, plus 287 just keeps popping up. So this is the magic shield I was talking about. You're just going to have to keep spamming Arcane Explosion. Just whatever ones don't have their shield up, you can kill. Here's our last one here. If there was no such thing as dungeon lockouts, I would reset after that pull. There's another room in here with the horses, which all stun you. I just don't add them to the pull just because they could spam stun you, and again, it can create issues. But like I was saying, if there's no such thing as a lockout, I would just reset the dungeon there because that's the most dense pull in the dungeon, and just keep going. But because there is a lockout, we gotta clear further, or clear the whole dungeon at least, excluding the last bosses. So everyone's gonna loot up over there. I have seen people doing these carries for 2 gold a run. Typically when I do SFK, I don't charge anything. Normally because I'll be bringing my own character. So if people want to leech a bit of XP, they can go for it. I will always do these runs in a full group. You get more experience due to the group bonus with people than you do without people. So it is better to take people along with you. And if you want to charge, 4 runs, you can go ahead and do so. So these are the mobs I was talking about before that all cast the Sans. I am Sans right now. You're going to pull some of those as well as these ones over here. And then you're going to loop back around and target the boss. And we're basically nearing the end of the dungeon here. The really good dungeons in the power leveling. We're Sans here, so we'll just eat the damage. Like I was saying, the really good dungeons in the power leveling, I guess 8 to 60 or whatever, is going to be SM. And it's going to be SM Armory and Cathedral. And that is because you can make a significant gold per hour just from charging people for runs, and that's completely excluding any greens or any of that drops. Even if everything's free roll, you're still going to be making a good amount of gold per hour. So when I do Armory and Cathedral, I will advertise for mages and healers. They get 5 gold per set, and I include Armory and Cathedral full runs as one set. So each dungeon basically to them would be 2 gold 50 silver, and anything else would be 3 gold each. So like a rogue or warrior or whatever. Just because the other classes can help a bit, and it just makes the runs a bit smoother. But let's say you're charging the absolute minimum for Armory and Cathedral, or at least what I charged would be 5 gold for the set, which includes both. That would be 20 gold for 4 people for 20 minutes because it takes about Armory is about 4 to 5 minutes plus looting, and then Cathedral is about 10 minutes. So if you're extremely good in terms of efficiency and the group's good and everyone's following properly and all that stuff, you'll have no issue doing it in 15 to 20 minutes. So let's do a conservative amount and say you have 4 people in your group paying the least amount because they're all healers and mages, for example. So you get 20 gold for the 4 of them. And you can complete 3 sets an hour. You'll be getting 60 gold an hour minimum just from gold from people. I'll be pulling back to them, so I'll tell them to wait there. You'll be getting 60 gold an hour, just pure gold, excluding all drops. Typically, also what I'll do is I'll go enchanting myself, or maybe an alt or a friend that you're carrying or something will be enchanting. And you will be taking the cathedral boss drops after everyone's already gotten what they got, what they need from it. So the reason is the small radiants on this server at least go for around 250 a shard. So let's say you get all the shards for 4 runs, you'll be making an additional 5 gold a run. You end up making another 20 gold in the hour, so you're making 80 gold an hour just from the shards and what people are paying you. I've seen people charge way more for SM runs than 250 per dungeon. I've seen people offering to pay way more just to have someone run them for those dungeons. So there's an extremely good amount of gold to make in SM, which is why I like trying to do the runs as efficiently as possible, because the more runs you can fit in, the more gold you'll be making. Also, typically when you're doing them, you'll have the same group staying with you the entirety for like hours, just because the runs will be so good. So you don't have to worry about constantly going back to town and finding people, anything like that. You'll just have to worry about emptying your bags. So that was the entire run of SFK. It was about 8.5 minutes plus they loot and everything. I don't go further than that just because the mob density is basically nothing. There's like one boss and the last boss, and that's it. So about 8.5 minutes to 9 minutes. And yeah, that was SFK. Hope you enjoyed. The next one's going to be combo runs to avoid lockout. So it's going to be library, or sorry, not library. It's going to be SM Graveyard and Armory Courtyard pull. So I've been doing this with these guys for an hour, so I'll just port them out. So it's going to be Armory and Courtyard pull, and then full Cathedral. That's one combo. So the Armory and Cathedral, and then the other one is Library, or not Library, sorry, Graveyard, and the first pull of Armory. And that's just to avoid the lockout. So hope you enjoyed the run. Hopefully you guys found it insightful. The next runs will be more insightful because I know tons of people are doing SM and anyone can be doing, SFK. There's not really an efficient way to pull it that everyone else probably isn't already doing. So hopefully you enjoyed. If there's anything else, I'll put the description or everything, all relevant information in the description. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.